Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Mike Hamilton from Trade the Easy Way. I'm just going to go through markets. You're basically looking over my shoulder as I prepare for the week ahead. US jobs on Friday, and you can see how this dollar index has toppled way back to mid-April levels. So Fed minutes last week said they were prepared to be flexible, and the market took it that they may not be as aggressive as they had anticipated on rate rises. Market is completely occupied with inflation, and so we'll look at commodity prices. A lot of commodities still sitting up really nicely, but I think gas has come right off. Anyway, so with the dollar dropping, we stand a chance of these markets sitting up, or they are sitting up and holding up. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. What the Nasdaq does, the rest of the market tends to follow as a rule of thumb. So Nasdaq has come up on volume. We are 12,800. Obviously, it's I think it's Ascension Day today, isn't it? US is not around today. So US is not around today, UK is not around Thursday, Friday. So pity, because it's non-farm payroll on Friday. Anyway, any pullback into the Friday range, around about 400 or 500. 500 would be the obvious place to get in. Could potentially see us wind up to 14K. However, on previous occasions, we have climbed and then sold. So if we're going to climb and sell, we are going to close, and we have got a lot of resistance up here. Well, let's see. I would fully anticipate moving to 500 back into Friday's bar. If we can subsequently break this high, then I think we can come and see that resistance. Now, obviously, I could be wrong. I do not. None of us know where this market's going to go tomorrow, let alone next week. But with a move like that, here we had a little move like that from the middle of March into, or we didn't really start to drop until first week in April. So this kind of move that we had over here is what I would anticipate for. This kind of move we have over here is what I would anticipate for over here. If we move into that area and get a sell signal, I'm going to get short and stay short. All right, so I think this impulse wave will see a pullback, and then we'll get a third wave into non-farm payroll on Friday, into that resistance area in the coming days and weeks. Let's see how that translates into the Dow. Dow is even further ahead overall, coming into this major sell area on the 5th of May. So pull back into 32,500 or 800 area, could see us go back to 34,000. All right, the ultimate major overhang is here at 35,000. Let's have a look at the UK, seeing as most of us are trading from the UK. So we're struggling with this pink zone. We sold from here on the 10th of Feb, pre-war area. We bounced back middle of April. Here we are on the line, just trying to pick up from here. So this is a real litmus test. If this FTSE can't close above this 7,600, if we start closing lower, then we could topple over. You can see we're above that structure. If I pull back, you can see we're above that pattern. So we could so easily come back and test the floor of that, which would be 75.20, so or 7,500. That would make sense. So if we peel back and hold 7,500, then maybe we can march up to 77, 77 up there on that extension level I got marked. Right, let's get going then. Oil. So despite the US not being around, this oil marches on. We look as if we're going to see 120. We're not that far off 120 already, and we could potentially go back to the highs and ultimately push up to 150. So pullbacks on this one are to be bought. Gold. Sideways to lower. Let's look at the commodities now. Quick look at commodities, and we'll get straight into stocks. Let's have a look at natural gas. So we've hit some support down there at 83. I would have thought if we stay on the underside of that trend line, we'll come lower. You guys having trouble? Did you get taken out somehow? You've got problems logging in. Got a few people missing. I don't know where everybody is tonight. The weather's too nice, I guess. Orange juice higher. Pull back to 17.5. Let's have a look at copper. Copper is very interesting here. Move right back into this trend line. I think copper is looking good. So we had this big blast up here in early March and this deep pullback. I think if copper holds this area, I think we could move significantly higher. We'll look at some copper miners in a minute. That is a tremendous support area. I'm really liking the copper, so I need to look into that more. Wheat, all the grains are holding up. This pullback in wheat, we gapped up and we pulled right back. I'd be surprised. I think we're heading for $15 at least. Let's look at soybeans. Same story. Any pullback into 15, 16 could see us go back to 18 to 20. So I'm very bullish on all these commodities. I want to look at cocoa. I don't know why it's not on my list. Let's look at London cocoa. Tremendous push up here. So only pull back to 17. Because if we subsequently hold here, I think I can go back to 20 plus on the cocoa. Right, stocks. Start off with banks. Disclosure, I'm in Barclays off the lows. So Barclays is struggling with this 170, but the volume continues to pick up. So I'm going to hold on to this. All the time the volume is sustained, I'm going to hold on to that. Lloyd's, not going to look at too many stocks. Any pullback to 43.80 is a buy. Struggling under that trend line, but I think a pullback is buyable. AJ Bell. I think 270 is a buy on AJ Bell. Sabre Insurance. Ooh, that's coming off. Yeah, I'm not far off £2. So if Sabre comes into £2 and holds, I would be a buyer on Sabre. And blockchain. Bitcoin is very, very weak still. Bitcoin looks lower to me. We'll look at that in a minute. Standard Chartered. I was on fire last week. Still looks buyable at 606, £6. Let's look at Prudential. I did some research last week on Prudential. Yeah, I think coming up on volume, I think Prudential is a buy. I don't think, well, if we see 990, I would be a buyer on that one, on Prudential. Right, retailers had a good day today. Let's go quickly through retailers. Things like Boo. So we're breaking up through resistance on volume now. So I think 85p with a stop under 74p on Boo is a good one. Let's look at ASOS. What have I done with ASOS? Oh, it's here. Very strong, very nice push here. So I think any pullback, if you see 1478 again, volumes are not screaming high, but they are definitely building. It's still under that 50-day average on the volume, but I think I'd be surprised if that doesn't go to 20. That seems to be heading for 20 to me. Tesco's, I just don't like these guys. Airlines and supermarkets, not for me at the moment. This Sainsbury's has got a higher volume, but it's not going anywhere. Let's cut across to Royal Mail Group. After that plunge, it appears to be trying to claw its way back. WH Smith's very, very volatile, pushes up into 16, goes right the way back to 1470, and then punches higher again. So at the moment, any pullback to 1555 on WH Smith. So I do not like WH Smith. It's not one for me. I wouldn't trade it personally, but I know people in the group are. Next, we've gone right to resistance. Volume's slackening up there, so be careful on that one if you're in that. Ted Baker has been sold, I believe, but still seems to be trading. Let's leave that alone. Card Factory short. I'm still in this. I still believe this is a good short. We've come up on low volume. This is a massive fire line, a massive area of resistance for Card Factory. So I'm short at 65. My stop is above this area here on above 68. I'm looking for this to go to 30. And I'm happy to sit in that. I had two big chunks out of this. So worst case scenario, I will give a small portion back of my profits. That's worst case scenario for me. If you're interested in this, try and get short. Try and offer out 65 with a stop above 68. The volume is still holding up, so I need this to close at a minimum under 64 in the next couple of days. If it does not do that, and obviously if it punches higher, then I'm out. But I believe this is a good short based on the technicals and the fundamentals. I think it's a rubbish brand in a very competitive marketplace with huge overheads and very narrow margins. I've been bear raiding bricks and mortar retailers for at least 10 years. Right, moving on. Let's look at energy. I've got some 5 new stocks to show you in a minute. I'll get to those very quickly. Shell. Sell volume. Obviously there's a lot of politics in these oil stocks now, particularly these big boys, so be careful because they are showing signs of profit taking. BP is sitting up, but be careful. This is a good run. Gulf, Keystone, just be careful. I think these guys are topping out a bit. Tullow has been struggling with this high, this 50-60 level for a long time. So we got up to 66 up here. If that closes under 50, I'm bailing out. I'm getting out. Petrofac oil suppliers is struggling. It's coming down on volume. So if you're in that, 60 was the obvious place to get out. That looks lower. That's really struggling. Unless that closes above 150 soon, that looks lower. And what else have I got? Let's look at this one here. This is a speculative one I got for you. Very speculative. Rockhopper. Only trade this if you're prepared to lose money. Disclaimer, only trade this if you are prepared to lose money. Why do I say that? Because I said it before we even got into this, because it's speculative. But look at the support there at 7.5. So I'm going to try and bid on about 7p80, and see if that can close above 10. If we start breaking under 7 and closing under 7, I'm out. I'll dump it. I think this Rockhopper might just give a run. It's a nice cheapie. Haven't talked about cheapies for a while. So I think Rockhopper is an option. If you look at 88E, something that one of Andy's stocks, they just dumped it. That's just caved in. All right, and moving on. So we've done banks. Let's look at, we've done retail, banks. Let's have a look at basic materials. I'm really keen on this one. I need to pull my stop up on this one. So we dipped into 107 back here 19th of May, just sitting on this 121, 122. It looks as if we can come and see 115, 118 again. Volumes are not brilliant. It's a chemical company, I believe. So I think Elementis is good. TPI cap. I'm not in this. It didn't dip. I don't like chasing the market, and this thing didn't dip enough for me. So we come from a low of £1, we're up there 133. I'll sit tight. I'll sit tight. Man Group is sitting up high as well. I like it, but I'm not going to buy that high. I need to see at least 240 on that one. Rio is back in play, not pulling back at the moment. Gem Diamonds has been on a run, that is pulling back. Yeah, okay. Gem Diamonds is coming down on volume. Couldn't get through that trend line. Anything, what else do I want to go through? Let's look at the miners. Pan-African. That looks good actually. I think Pan-African is a buy here. It's come into the big 20 and there's a lot of volume stepped in there. It's been struggling up here, but I think that is a buy. That's here. I'm going to add to this one. So I was making notes. I'm going to look at, I promised you I'd look at copper miners. I'm going to look at copper miners in a second. Sylvania. Now the volumes are building on this one, and this is a big area for Sylvania. Very underwhelmed by that chart, but if that picks up over 90, I would sit tight, see if that closes over 90, and then move in. I'm going to look at some American stocks in a second. Hochschild, building. Any pullbacks to 110, 112, or a buy on that one. Griffin. Yeah, it's pulled right back into this big bar. It had a huge bar here. It's taken all this time to pull back. So it's boomeranged. It broke out here on the 8th of March. We've finally done a boomerang back to that base. You know what? If you bid down here at around about the 90 mark, you might get filled because the volumes are pretty pathetic. Right, let's look at a couple of US ones. CDE is doing well on volume, so any pullbacks around about the $4 mark is good on that one. HL is another $4, $5 oil gold miner. Volumes are building, so that's a buy. I would quickly, no, any other UK stocks you want to look at? I'm struggling with UK stocks still. I'm not finding a lot. Let's go through the other ones I've got lined up for you. This one. So we've talked about the retailers, ASOS and Boo. I think they're viable now. Talked about the speculative oil explorer Rockhopper. Let's look at this one. This one came up on my radar. Saga. Done a lot of cost cutting. Volumes are building. What do you guys think of Saga? I'll do Rolls-Royce in a minute. It's got a series of lower highs. if you do, I'm not, again, I'm underwhelmed by this. Volumes are not great. It's come from a 460, yeah. It's got potential, but I would, if you do take that one, I would get out quick if it closes underneath that £2 mark. I would not hang around in that one. But it's not great, but it's got potential. Right, let's look at this one. I've not studied this one properly yet. Moonpig. No. I mean, if it pulled back to £2.230 and held, I would look at that. Right, now let's look at your ones. What have I got rolls under? Hang on a second. I know what I've done. Okay. Rolls is here. Really beginning to perk up. Still time to get in this. If you see 85, volumes are turning up, closed above a major resistance area. I think that's a good recovery stock. Luke, okay, I'll look at that in a sec. Yeah, I've looked at W.H. Smith's. I'll do that quickly again in a second. So I've got nothing else on my, nothing else come off my scan list. This IQE is picking up. That's sitting up very well at the moment. SCE is sitting up as well. Let's go back and look at that one. Seeing machines. Yeah, you see it's holding up well. Volume is getting better. So if you're interested in that one, try and bid on 7.2. Okay, yeah, let's just spend a little bit more time on UK and then I'll go into US. I've been buying into a few MU and Zoom. Let's look at, oh, I know it's going to do it. That's the other one. Sticking with UK for a second. I think this is interesting. I think this Zoo Digital is a buy. Liking the volume on that. Right, let's look at so quickly back on W.H. Smith's. Yeah, I think that will pull back into that big range Thursday, 1560, 1550. It may not do it. Volume's not great today. But yeah, it's not for me. I would not trade this one. The only thing I'm doing in retail at the moment is buying into ASOS and shorting Card Factory. It's the only thing I'm doing in retail at the moment. SSPG, what's that one? Don't recognize that ticker, should I? I also looked at this before. Yeah, so we've done a boomerang. Did this huge breakout on the 6th of November 2020. Finally pulled back into that range, broken out. What do they do, Yonka? What do they do? 250 is an obvious. If you're interested, 250. I'd be very surprised if that doesn't see 250. Yeah, hi Stacey, good to see you. Upper Crust and Co. That's SSPG. Is this the one I suggested? This is the one I suggested, isn't it? Yeah. Stupid me. I don't recognise my own recommendations. Yeah, I've not gone in it. Confession, I've not gone in this. Yeah, I started talking about it back in March, I think. Didn't I? March, April. This is airport catering, isn't it? Yeah. Hence, yeah. It looks good. There's a massive gap up there at 390. The volume. Look at the volumes coming in. Airports are incredibly busy. These guys must be doing well because so many. If they must have outlets in Gatwick, and Gatwick's just, well, it was chocker with people. Yeah, I should recognise my own recommendation, shouldn't I? I don't know why I didn't recognise it. Right, what's this loose? Yeah, a journalist asked me last week what would I recommend thinking about, this bank holiday weekend coming up. And I said anything to do with food and drink and ice creams. So the upper cross one was good. Yeah, wow. What do these guys do, Andy? Decent buy signal here on Thursday. Pull back into that 120. What's this Luke do? Well, it looks like a buy anyway. Right, moving on. I haven't looked at airlines. IAG. I do not like airlines. I think as oh, you just sent me wiring accessories. Oh, LED. Have we not looked at that in the past? That sounds familiar. At least I've looked at that in the past. I've definitely looked at that one. Right. Let's look at Chewy. A couple more UK ones, and then I'm moving on to US. Chewy's got a buy signal on volume, so that's a pullback at 192, 195. Disclaimer: I'm not going into that. I found this SSPG on my list now. It is on my retail list. EasyJet. It looks pathetic to me. They've got a lot of issues, haven't they? Did I look? I looked at next, didn't I? Right. I'm going to look at some. I'm going to look at US stuff that I'm in. INDIV. Can't find it. INDV. Pharmaceutical. I meant to look at Glaxo and all the rest, actually. They're all sitting up okay. It's too close to that resistance for me. A very good run. I would be interested if that went to 90. Otherwise, I wouldn't buy that up there. Right, I'm just going to shoot through some US stocks. Let's look at MU. I bought MU at the lows. That's doing really well. Fantastic. Look at the volume in this. I bought this down here at 67. I bought that at 67. That's nearly 74. Still time to get in that. Zoom. I'm in Zoom. Look at the volume coming in Zoom. That's what I want to see. Commitment. I want to see commitment. Again, still time to get in this, I think, as long as it doesn't start zooming off. Pardon the pun. But there's a lot of, I mean, Twitter has recovered. It's back to 4th of April support. I think the risk to everything. If something goes wrong with Elon's bid, that could drop lower. Airbnb, great volume. These are decent pullbacks. US jobs on Friday, and that's a lovely push off that low. So any dip, you know what? I think you're going to have to buy high on that one. That's so much volume coming into that. I mean, if you're patient, you might see closer to 110, 111. Pfizer. I bailed out of Pfizer, took some profits on this one. I had several decent bites out of it, so I just left it. Netflix, good idea. Let's just quickly zip through a couple on QCOM. Really nice volume, and these are good tech stocks. I'm liking QCOM a lot. Let's look at Roku. Very healthy. This is what I want to see. This is what really gets me going for stocks. I want to see that volume. I want to see the breakout in volume. I don't like stocks that drift higher on pathetic volume. Even Facebook's got some kind of recovery going as well. The volume's coming back in Facebook. Yeah, tech stocks, particularly the so-called growth stocks, they're absolutely mauled, but they are all looking a lot healthier. You just got to be very choosy. Path was one that's not perking up. Let's look at Uber. Uber's good. If you see 22.50, 60 on Uber with a stop under the lows, it's got volume, higher closes, not impressed, not gone any kind of half decent distance, but it's certainly trying. Let's look at PLTR. Very well talks about PLTR. Yeah, but answer your questions. Answer your question. But I'm buying into US techs. Slowly and surely. I'm not busting a gut to race into them, and I'm not going to sit. I'm still very short term. Yeah, Roku and QCOM, that's gapped up. So if that closes the gap at 88, I mean, so I'm sticking with quality. I'm just less and less speculative stocks, more and more quality, and the same goes for these techs. Netflix. So that's my preference for techs. I mean, I mean, look at that. These Alibaba have had their slowest growth level for quite some time. Twilio. Yeah, they're starting to climb back. I mean, they've been so beaten up. This was $46 nearly, and it dropped to 9. Incredibly beaten up. What did I say about PLTR? I said that it's got volume, and I was going to say wait for $8, but try and bid for $8. See if it has a bad hair day and pulls back. But I do not like chasing the market. ICE, the exchange. Yeah, that's good. Let me update this chart. Oops. That's an impressive chart. Unlike some of the ones I just looked at, that's the bounce has gone further. But this is, you know, it's a good solid company, less speculative than a lot of ones we just looked at. So I think this on a pullback is great. Will we see $100? Yeah, could do. It's well worth trying to hold out for $100 on ICE. What was the other one? ENPH. Oh yeah, your famous ENPH. Wow, decent move. That's come a reasonable distance, hasn't it? 129 up to 190. I would have thought this needs a breather. You might see 175 on that again. Right. Let me tidy this up. Just remind me what they do. This is a, it's not oil, is it? I know they're in. Battery, of course, of course. Right, so that was 21. Well, this I would try and hold out for 174 if you're interested in it. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get back, I don't know where you got in and out of this one, but if we see 174 looks likely to be tested again. Let me put that back on the watch list. Yeah, so, but I'm still short term. I know some of you were late in, so I'll just go back over what I saw on what I'm seeing on Nasdaq. I'm seeing the Nasdaq obviously dipping back into this Friday range, and then potentially going up to 14K. At which point, or even maybe not as high as 14K, but then colliding with this massive overhang and then potentially rolling over. So I'm still short-termism. If I am buying, I've got localized targets, not long-term investment targets. I still think if we can grind higher in the summer, I think earnings in the autumn is going to be a bit of a bloodbath. Yeah, the Chinese market has picked up. We've got a lot of Chinese data tomorrow, haven't we? Ooh, wow, that's pathetic. That is really pathetic. Can't seem to get out of this range. Come on, what's the chance? What are you doing? We're stuck in that range, which if we can't get out of that range, we could potentially go and see 1400 and then roll over. This is quite bearish behavior at the moment. So be careful. I didn't look at. I'll look at that in a minute, Yonka. Let's look at. What's going to? Let's go look at something. Oh, it's gone in and straight out of my head. That's annoying. Oh, FS. I promised you I'll look at copper miners. I think the copper price, copper chart is looking like it could power up. So I think this FCX is the big miner is a buy on a pullback into Thursday's range. Is that Thursday? Yeah, Thursday's range. FCSS. This and I'll go. Fidelity's China, right? Yeah, that's looking a lot better than the actual Chinese index does. They're just lifting COVID restrictions, aren't they? Well, if they can sustain that, that looks better. FCSS and CH. I don't know what you're looking at on CH. HSCH. Anyway, yeah, I mean the FCSS looks good. Right. Thanks for your company, guys. I'm going to leave it there. But on the, if we can get, in answer to your question about China, if we can close above this one, this 13.5 on volume, then yeah, we got potential. But we're stuck in this 16th March range, so that's a concern. But the FCSS appears to be a lot chirpier. Right, brilliant. Thanks for your time, guys. Watch out for updates. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Stacey, are you in the Telegram room? Good. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, guys. Have fun. See you soon.